Raising women's voices, one story at a time. Welcome to the She Said Project podcast. It is always a good day when I get to hang out with my friend Carrie Rosso in the studio for another episode of the She Said Project podcast.
Amen and amen. This is so fun. I love doing this.
This is really one of the highlights. I'm Jeanette. I'm National Director of the She Said Project. I get this incredible opportunity to direct shows all across Central Illinois now and work with women as they share their stories. And Carrie Rosso, you get to just pop in here and just, you're the icing on the cake.
I've heard that before.
That's what he said. She said.
Whatever.
But I'm really excited for you to meet our guest today because she's in one of those cities where I got to work with them this year. I don't even think this is one of the shows that you were at. So this is like a new friend.
It is a new friend. And I watched her piece and it took me off guard. It made me laugh. It made me hold my breath. It was the whole kit and caboodle.
One of your favorite things you always teach me is when a woman can talk about something hard.
Whoa.
When a woman can talk about a hard topic, Carrie, and make us laugh because life is ridiculous and all the things. And Rhonda has that gift. So I'm really excited for you. Let's just bring her on here. Rhonda, are you on the line with us?
I am.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome. Hi, Rhonda.
Hello, Carrie. How are you?
Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited because I watched your piece and it was just so many of my favorite elements when I listened to pieces. And like Jeanette said, you were able to just hit all of the feels. It was a roller coaster of, I didn't even know how to sort of dub it. Like, sometimes it's like, oh, clearly this is a heartfelt one. Clearly this is a funny one. Clearly this is, whatever. Yours, you just hit everything. It was great.
She hits a lot of notes in her living out loud. And Rhonda, from getting to know you working on that show, you do live your life out loud. There is no alternative for you.
You know what? Being stage 4, I've decided that I'm not telling myself no. And I do mean literally live my absolute best life. Like, I'm not leaving nothing. My kids ain't getting nothing. I'm feeling it right now.
They're on their own. Okay, so wait. So back this up. So before we get to your story, how did you get connected with She Said?
I got connected with Nikki Romaine through Art Inc. here in Peoria. So she contacted me, and she knows I've been living my best life, which means I am seriously on the go all the time. I'm trying to see every piece of this world, my quest to get all 7 continents. And so she let me know a year in advance, this is the date, and you're there. I put it in my calendar as we were talking. I was like, you're down. I'm building my trip around you.
Please put us into your travel schedule. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To our friends who are joining us on the podcast and haven't met Rhonda or seen her performance, and that's what she said yet, Rhonda referred to her stage 4. So trigger warning, we're having a hard conversation about breast cancer today. And I think Rhonda's going to make you realize that there is so much to be grateful for in this world. She has certainly opened our eyes and our hearts, and we love every second we get with you, girl.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But, the goal is to let people know that no matter where you're at in this life's journey, specifically when someone gives you a time limit, that you can live. And that's the key for me, is to make sure that everyone understands that you can live, you can have fun, you can joke about this crazy disease and be okay.
Well, I think we need to let everybody else in on it. This is what a 52-year-old says. Let's go to the tape. Yeah.
Let's roll it. So, Rhonda, we're going to play your audio from your performance because there's no better way to explain what you experienced and how you got to this point than by sharing your story with our friends. So we'll come back and we'll learn more about where Rhonda is today. But to catch you all up, let's enjoy her performance in That's What She Said, Peoria 2024, and her story, Living Out Loud. Please enjoy Ronda Guyton.
Let me tell you a little bit about the woman standing before you. I am a fatherless girl from the projects with a mother who suffers from mental illness. I grew up with poverty and homelessness. I endured rape and incest. I told someone like we are told to do. No one did anything. No one heard my voice. No police, no counseling, just pretending. I got pregnant at 13. No one cared. I had to figure it out. I got on public aid. Every month, I would receive $192 in cash and $303 in food stamps. I stopped going to school. Parents did not want their daughters to play with me anymore. I was labeled as fast. I could have turned out much differently. The system I grew up in was not designed for me to dream the American dream. But I dreamed anyway. I never gave up. I was determined to make sure that my children would never experience what I had experienced, that they would never know homelessness or having the lights going out. I beat the system. I was a feel-good story. I joined the Army Reserves. I got my bachelor's degree. I had a career. I landed my dream job. I no longer was eating hand to hand. I bought a house, the first in my generation to do so. I had a husband. I could take vacations. I found joy. I was now in a position to help others. From the age of 16 on, I have opened my home and heart to those in need. I kept dreaming bigger dreams. After all the abuse and trials, I overcame. I was the conqueror. I wanted more. I grew vain. I could not be content with what I worked so hard for. I got greedy. My inside personality was full of confidence and joy and laughter. I was unsatisfied with what my body had become. I wanted my outside to match my inside. I worked hard for it. I lost the weight, but I still wanted to feel good in a bikini for my big 40th birthday bash in Miami. I went for breast enhancements, a tummy tuck. But I think God used my vanity against me. Instead of getting the boob job, I was diagnosed with stage 0 breast cancer. So instead, I got a whole double mastectomy and free boobs. I wasn't required to have any other treatments, and my survival rate was 90%. I was 39 years old, and I have to admit, I did not take care of myself. I was not doing those self-breast exams like they tell you to do. If I had done so, I would have noticed the change in my breast. I learned that minority women are at a higher risk of late-stage diagnosis. There often isn't enough information on preventative care, financial assistance, or increasing minority survival rates. I knew I could use my story to help raise awareness. I needed a platform. I picked up the phone and I called Susan Guyton of Peoria. They followed my story and shared every step during their Buddy Check 25 news segment. You know, I ain't never been shy. I continued working with Susan Guyton to encourage more minority women to learn about breast health. For my 40th birthday, we hosted a mammogram-a-thon to encourage at least 40 women to get their diagnostic mammograms. 2 women I personally knew were diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer because of this event. And we know that early diagnosis equals longer life expectancy. It brought me so much joy to use my voice and my story to help other women. I even started Living to Serve Foundation in 2013 to increase awareness of women's health by providing programming, resources, and education. But my story wasn't over. I continued to chase vanity. I had not learned my lesson. I had several implant changes. I joined a study that would give me the new teardrop effect. I wanted to look fabulous. No bra, standing ovation at all times. The perfect set. For 2 years, I was living the dream, and now I had all this knowledge on breast care. I was feeling myself all the time. And then I got a call and a letter. Apparently, my new showstoppers could cause cancer. Well, I had options. I could either take them out completely and go flat-chested. Now, y'all know that wasn't happening. Or I can get a new set for free. I chose the option to take the fat from my stomach, I know it don't look like it, and make some new boobs. I figured I can't get cancer from my own fat, and I can get a tummy tuck for free. Come on, y'all. I ended up having 4 surgeries, weekly stays in the hospital, several infections, and then the world went on lockdown. What a mess. Of course, I continued filling myself up. and I started to feel several lumps in my left breast and 2 in my right breast. I was told continuously that it was something called fat necrosis. But the lumps were growing. I was not going to settle for their opinion that it was fat necrosis. My intuition was telling me something, and I insisted on getting an MRI. But before my appointment, I got really sick, and I had to go to the ER. They did a CT scan and found 2 cancerous tumors in my spine. I'm like, what? November 2021, my world turned upside down. First, you know us. We're going to have us dead in 7 days. After multiple tests, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. Due to the aggressiveness of my cancer, it was suggested that I would have 3 to 5 years, but they have seen 7 to 10 with aggressive chemo treatments. I endured 5 months of intravenous chemo, 36 rounds of radiation. Chemo was rough, and I lost my hair. I cried about losing my hair. Radiation, for me, was worse than chemo. When I finished my 36 rounds, the doctor said, "We need to see you in 4 months." Nah, doc, I ain't coming back. Chemo was rough for me. So much for vanity. I lost my left breast. My right breast tends to rest under my right arm. I'm learning to cope with how it all turned out. I was so determined to have the perfect breast. And now one of them is a prosthetic. Now you know where it's at? Sitting at home on the shelf. I was going to bring it with me, but Nikki said you are not going to be walking around on this stage with a prosthetic breast. Sorry, y'all. At first, I thought God was using my vanity against me in all of this by taking my joy away. But when I look back, it was actually my vanity that led me to my first diagnosis. And when I opened up about my journey, I was able to help others do the same, which gave me joy. My story is still not done. No one was meant to be here forever. It is what you do with the time you have here. In the past 24 months, I have traveled to Egypt, Greece, Ghana, Paris, Jamaica, Mexico, Dubai, and the Bahamas. I went on 4 cruises. I mourned the loss of my hair, but for my 50th birthday, I owned it and celebrated in St. Lucia anyway. I was told not to travel, but y'all know I'm hard-headed. If I'm leaving this earth anyway, I am going to enjoy the time that I have to the fullest. I have chosen to live out loud, unapologetically, transparent, and joyful.
It is really hard to describe the joy and the humor and the heartbreak that you experienced in such a short amount of time, Rhonda. It's a lot. How are you feeling today?
You know what? Honestly, it's so crazy that you even asked about today. Let me put this disclaimer out there. Live your best life, but don't do all the things that Rhonda does, because Rhonda does not always listen to her doctors, okay? So that is a disclaimer. Don't do everything I do, okay? I took a break off of the chemo. Chemo sucks, okay? I have to take it every day. I'm on pills now, which you've heard in my story. I did 5 months intravenous, but now I'm on a regimen where I'm taking chemo pills every day, and I am on my quest to get all 7 continents. So I was going to Asia, and I was doing Indonesia and Thailand, and I did not want to be sick while I was globetrotting. So I chose to stop taking my chemo so that I could really live and show out. And I did show out. Let me tell you, I showed out while I was gone. So I just started back taking my chemo yesterday. And today I feel like crap. But every day I choose joy. And I'm still having an amazing time. And I've got 6 continents out of 7. So I'm good.
Only one more to hit. Talk about a bucket list.
And that's Antarctica.
Oh.
And do you have a plan? Do you have a plan to get there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I have a plan. I am doing a yacht cruise with my son because my husband said, "Baby, I love you." And you know I do. But what I'm not going to do is go to Antarctica in the cold and play in ice with you.
I love you,
But
there's
always a but.
But there.
I mean, there's a limit, but it ain't a limit, but that's the limit. So my youngest son, who's 24, was like, "We got it." I said, "Okay." I said, "We're going to do a polar plunge too." Yeah, he said, "Mom, you can't swim." I said, "Listen, They're going to give me a life jacket. They're going to tie a rope around me. I'm going to jump in, and all y'all going to pull me out. Total plunge complete.
That's a good
So,
plan.
yeah. Yeah, so hopefully March 2025 is when we'll be going. I'm excited about it. And then after that, I don't care what happens. I can be sick and laid up in the bed. I don't care. Once I get Antarctica, yeah, I've hit the pinnacle.
Carrie, do you feel like you live your life to the fullest after listening to Ronda?
Well, 20 minutes ago I did, and now I'm like, wow, I'm just wasting away over here. Oh my goodness.
What
and
I'm-
Rhonda, we trust.
We do. And what I'm taking away is your perspective. Anyone who's received news that you've received could choose to look at this world and a whole lot of woe is me and a whole lot of pity going on. And I'm just so blown away by your perspective of living your life to the fullest. Ain't nothing going to stop you. I'm sorry to hear that you're not feeling well today. I mean, that does suck. I'm empathetic for you. Like, this is your truth right now, and you got to do what you got to do, girl.
I set myself up for this sickness because I could be my regular sick and not the, like, I'm starting brand new with chemo again type of sick. I knew what I was doing, but I think I forgot a little bit about how funky it was to start over. And, Terry, it's so crazy. I just want to get this out. And stop me at any time, honey, because I can talk about this for days. When I did what you said, Jeanette helped me out a lot on how to frame and get my story and tell it in a way that just brought joy to people. Even in the circumstance of, you know what, you're going to die in the next 3 to 5 years. And it's like you hear that, and it's like, huh? And you're laughing. So she helped me portray that so that people knew that I'm not dying. I'm living.
Wow.
And there's a huge difference between dying and living, right? And I'm choosing to live, and I want people to know wholeheartedly that no matter what you're going through, no matter what kind of disease that you're fighting, that you literally can choose to live. You can have a day here and there, but you can't stay in that day. And people who've heard my story before were like, you cracked us up. It was funny, but we got it. I want to be able to have that joy. I want to be able to find something that I love and just shoot for it and just live the way that you're living and not wallow in it. And some people will say, oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration and we love the way you storytell. It's life. I don't know how you say it's a story. It's my life. I like to have fun and I don't want it to stop.
I love that you're inspiring and not in a finger waggy way. Like, I love that you talk about vanity and how that led to so many different things. And you're willing to show not just the and for $9.99, you can be as awesome as me. But you share the whole thing. Like, it's honest. It felt so genuine, and that you were just honestly saying, this is just my story. And that's what made it so inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah, my vanity was crazy. And I still struggle with that, which is so crazy. You would think I would be completely over the vanity thing, but I find myself here and there, and I'll look at the scar because I don't have a left breast. And I look at it, and then, I look at this prosthetic, and I was like, I could go back out here and be a showstopper again. But I go back and forth. Am I living in my truth if I bring out this prosthetic?
I love that you left it at home.
It's
I love
on the
that.
shelf.
Yeah.
One of the best lines ever. In fact, I think I quoted you the other day. I was talking about stories to our new She Said sisters who are working on them, and like how real and raw, and like for you to just stand there and be like, you know where my boob is today? It's home on a shelf. And it's just so raw. You were brilliant that night. Absolutely. You brought us all to laughter. You brought us all to tears. And I remember vividly, like, you shared at the very beginning of your story the hardships that you come from. I mean, you did not come from all love and roses, and it was tough. And for you to have this outlook on life, even before all the breast cancer, you made some serious choices about who you wanted to be in this world. And I remember you telling me how immediately, as soon as you could, you brought others along with you. As soon as you had a home, you turned around and welcomed people into your home. As soon as you had financial stability, you turned around and helped others who were struggling. Like anytime you achieved something, you were immediately reaching backward and pulling everybody else along. Like that is who you are. And I don't know if you can learn that, if that's just an innate part of you. That is a lesson to be cherished right there.
I just have this unique perspective of what I went through. As you listen, I talk about my mother being bipolar schizophrenic, I talk about not meeting my father until, I was 13 for the first time, and not again until I was 21. He died and I didn't go to his funeral. I think I shared too that, when I got cancer the first time, I was like, God, after all of these things that I've been through, being sexually abused, having a mother dealing with mental illness, not having a father figure in the house, now you want to give me cancer? Is this the relationship we got? God, I need us to start over. Can we press pause? And he had a different plan. He said, there's something else I need you to do. There's someone else I need you to inspire. There's some work that I need to be done. I need some light shed on this disease. And who else? Why not you?
What was the feedback you got after the show? Did you hear from people you didn't expect to hear from? What did you hear back?
A lot of people were just like, you amaze me. And it's hard to accept some of that sometimes. It's just like, this is just my truth, right? I don't know any other way to tell it. But, I had a lot of, I loved your story. It was inspiring. I didn't expect anything less. And other people was like, I've never heard your story told that way, because I've spoken at different things. And they were like, I think I heard you say that, but this was different. The way that it was projected, the way that we were able to come together and tell these stories just felt different for people. And it was just received so well. And believe it or not, people still was like, oh my gosh, you were good. I love that. I saved my, my card, and I got the, I check it out on YouTube and I showed somebody else. So I think it did what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to bring joy. It was supposed to encourage, inspire, all the things that what she said is supposed to be about is what I think was able to be portrayed, not just from my story, but from others also.
Yeah, that was a beautiful cast you got to be a part of with such variety of stories. I mean, it comes together in this one night of just laughing together, crying together, just being real, right? And I hope you found some awesome friendships out of that group, because they are some really incredible ladies.
Yes. It was great. I definitely would not change it. And the relationships, like you said, that was brought from that has been amazing. We check in on each other. Happy birthday to you. We've had lunch since then. We got to get together. It's probably me and why we haven't gotten together as many.
Well, no one can keep up with your schedule, Rhonda. This
That's
is not
it.
the first time.
I'm always gone.
This is not the first time I tried to get her on the podcast. Like, I was emailing. She's like, honey, I'm in Thailand. I'm not available. She's been globetrotting for sure. You did share that your first thought was, I am going to broadcast this to the world. You reached out to Susan G. Komen. You offered your story from day one. Let me tell the story.
Yes.
And I mean, that is so brave. And I'm glad that they were receptive to that. Are you still in touch with them? Do you still do work with them?
I do. I am part of their Circle of Promise group. And so, we really push for mammograms. We put on shows. We speak at different events. We work the Pink Sunday. Whenever they need someone to speak at something about what they do or how I've benefited, I am all in. Susan G. Komen Peoria, because that's all I know, has gone out above and beyond for our community. If we, they have so many resources. If they need someone to you clean your house, if you need a ride, one of us ladies or someone else, we're going to give you a ride to the doctor. We're going to be there for you. I'm still very much active. We meet once a month with our Circle of Promise group. They have been a huge supporter for me. Every time I'm doing an event, I call and ask, it's like, hey, what information do you currently have? What's new that I don't know about that I can share with the community to make sure that we are continuously staying informed with all of the different changes with medical and finances? It's a great journey with Komen.
I can't imagine how many mammograms you have inspired women to go out and get, and how many lives, your story has saved. Stories save lives, Carrie. There it is. That's the work we get to do. By far, you sharing your story has inspired others to go get their girls checked out and, get that early detection and get that treatment.
One of the things that Komen and I do, when I first got diagnosed, and I literally had not known a half hour before I called Komen and said, hey, I just got diagnosed with ductal carcinoma in situ. I was like, I had to spell it. I had to ask him to spell it for me. And I said, for my 40th birthday, let's have what we called at that time, a mammogramathon. And literally, we were doing it every single year from the time that I got diagnosed. And the statistics continue to stay the same. 1 in 8 women is diagnosed with breast cancer. So the women who were on that MAM ban with us literally were being diagnosed with breast cancer. Women have said, you saved my life. Literally, they've said this on the news. They've sent me text messages because they were coming every year to our mammogramathon, which we call Sisters Rock now, and they get their testing done. The statistics has not changed.
Wow, that's amazing. You're like the boobologist.
I like that boob.
I was going with boobspiration.
No, don't be a boob, Jeanette.
Well, I was a little bit blown away when you said that you know the statistics, but then here you are in real time, like in a real scenario, and you're bringing these women in for these events, and it's still 1 in 8. 1 in 8.
Yeah.
That is
It's
shocking.
crazy because we keep talking about awareness, and like, but I don't know what to do. Well, I know in the minority community, we're still dying at a higher rate than any other ethnicity because we still have this fear.
Yeah.
We're still not using terminology that we should be using. For example, we always talked about, grandpa got that sugar. Well, he don't have sugar, baby. He got diabetes. Let's call a thing a thing. So, we have some of that. Then we have this thing of not being able to afford it. I literally just got my letter yesterday saying that my insurance through a grant that I received is going to cover me for another 6 months. Like literally without
You needed
this
a grant to pay for your therapy.
Yes.
Wow.
I took screenshots. So on my Living to Serve Foundation page, I've posted screenshots of what my monthly chemo. This is the chemo pill. We're not talking about any other medication that I have to take with this chemo. But just one of my pills is like $16,000. And after the deductible is like $4,800 or something like that. And then this grant covers that.
$4,800 after insurance. Wow.
So disturbing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm responsible for $48,000. I was like, baby, who got $4,800 a month? I'm like, I'm going to have to strip for that. And that's the way my body looks.
Hey.
I don't know. Listen, the way
Whatever.
my body's set up, baby, I'd be lucky to get $25. So
there's a taker for everyone. I'm just saying. I want you to talk about your foundation one more time so that at least we can link to it.
Okay, so the Living to Serve Foundation, you should see our new website. It's gorgeous. So yes, the Living to Serve Foundation, we work to increase awareness of women's health by providing them with programming, resources, and education. So whenever we find out about a woman that's going through, I try and visit them if they're local. We give them a journal because it's great to get it out because sometimes if we share what we're really thinking, y'all gonna lock us all up. Or you don't think we're going to go jump off the bridge. And that's not it. We just need to get shit off our chest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, we send them a little change, something that they can go out to lunch or breakfast, or they can reach out to us. And we have ma'am tops. The hospitals are doing a better job now. They have stuff that ladies can use. So we don't make as many as we did before, but we had mammogram tops that you can wear, and they just zipped up because you can't raise your arm up, and your tubes can sit in these little pockets that we had on the inside. But they have some new stuff out that the hospitals are using. So, yeah, that's what we do. And we hold an annual Sisters Rock event every year where we have people come in and talk about finances, and we have people talk about mental health. And then we do something fun for ourselves. Like this year in April, we're going to make bath bombs because you know what, ladies, sometimes we need to relax. Life is stressful. So we do something every year for people, and then we just reach out and love on folks. So, yeah, livingtoservefoundation.com.
On top of all of that, on top of her telling her story and inspiring women to get mammograms, she started a nonprofit. She started a foundation to do all this wraparound service.
Amazing.
Making the world a better place. You are living every single inch to the fullest.
I'm so excited. And we just celebrated our 10-year anniversary Living to Serve. It was great. We were at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. We were able to raise $25,000. It was an amazing event. So the way the community came out and loved on us, it was unbelievable.
Just phenomenal. You are just phenomenal. From the moment you got diagnosed, you looked outward. How can I help others? Boom, immediately.
I literally was driving in my squad car when the radiologist called me and told me. And when he said it, I was like, baby, I don't know what that is. I need you to spell it, break it down for me. And he did. And I sat in my car, and I was going to meet my partner to take him some paperwork. And I was on Arlington in the projects that I grew up in. I was born and raised in the Harrison Homes. And I'm literally a block from the Harrison Homes going to meet my partner. So how crazy is it that I get this diagnosis driving, being a police officer, something I've always wanted to do, and I get this call. I pull over for a second, and I'm letting it digest. I meet my partner, give him the stuff. I call my husband, and then I call Coleman. They were the second or third call. That's where it was supposed to be. That's the way God designed it.
Wow. When you grew up, after all this that you've been through, what was your career of choice? Police officer, serving the community you grew up in.
28 years and 3 days.
We were so honored and proud to just be part of getting your story out there and paying it forward and helping more women go get tested and live their life to the fullest.
I thank you for ourselves, but also for so many people that you are making this not so scary, and you're making us laugh while getting the squish-a-rooney. And thank you so much for everything you're doing and making it attainable and making women feel more comfortable about doing it.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share, because the more we collectively come together as women that have a platform to share, this is how we're getting it out. So together we win.
Any last words of advice for our listeners today?
Yes, live your best life. Make sure you're doing your monthly self-exams. And
Carrie, not now, not here.
Sorry.
Yeah. And once you turn 40, make sure you're getting your diagnostic mammogram. Do those exams. So many people find them on their own. So please take care of yourself and live your best life. Choose joy every single morning.
Well, I don't think we could say it any better than that. So, Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your story. And that's what she said. You are beautiful, and I cannot wait to see pictures from Antarctica.
Oh, yes.
We'll be here cheering you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much, ladies.
Love you so much. And thanks to all our friends for joining us today on the She Said Project podcast.
Over and out.
Thank you for listening to the She Said Project podcast in partnership with Illinois Public Media. All materials contained in the podcast are the exclusive property of the She Said Project and That's What She Said, LLC. For more information on our live shows, go to shesaidproject.com. This podcast was made possible with support from Carl and Health Alliance and presented by Sterling Wealth Management, empowering women to live their best lives.